In the span of 1 year, I went through a breakup, moved into my first apartment alone in Paris, questioned my career, left the country to reconnect with my roots, and somehow came back clearer than ever. This isn't a vlog, it's about what happens when life puts you through challenges and forces you to grow long before you're ready. Watch this video if you are building a life that doesn't fit into one category and you're trying to trust that it will somehow work out. Hey everyone, it's Jezel. I didn't post videos this past year. Not because nothing was happening, but because everything was. When life becomes this dance, you stop narrating it. You stop explaining. You just live inside it. Last year, I went through my first real breakup. The kind that happens after living together, after commitment, and after imagining a shared future. From my side, it was a slow burn kind of love. Curious, steady, built through everyday rituals. The kind where you slowly let your guard down, where intimacy grows quietly. You explore someone, your inner children play together, you feel closeness and mystery at the same time. But slow burn love can burn out too. Not suddenly, but quietly. We didn't end because something dramatic happened. We ended because the relationship stopped growing in the same direction we were growing. The warmth was still there, the respect was still there, but the future wasn't. And learning to honor what you had, without forcing it to continue, was one of the most adult things I experienced this year. Before all of that, my parents visited me, and it was a huge thing. We did an intense, almost chaotic family trip across Italy and France, nearly 3 weeks together. But beyond the travel, something deeper was happening. It's rare to have your childhood world and your adult life exist in the same space when you're abroad. Your parents walking through the life you built on your own, and at the same time, built with someone else. They saw how I live, how I move through Paris, how I plan, organize, and take responsibility. How I show up as an adult. And for once, I was the one taking care of the people who always took care of me. And that grounded me in a very quiet way. It reminded me where I come from and how far I've walked since. Through everything, the breakup, the uncertainty, the emotional shifts, my friendships stayed. They were my anchors, my shoulders to cry on, the sun that brought warmth and joy back into heavy days. Late dinners, long walks home, complaining and crying together, laughing until we forgot why the day felt so heavy. Conversations that didn't try to fix anything, but somehow clarified everything. There is a rare kind of friendship that doesn't demand explanations. People who don't rush you, don't need constant updates, and don't disappear when you're quiet. This year made me realize how rare that is, and how deeply I should cherish this kind of connection called friendship. Oh my god. So I just arrived at the Cheongsang airport. It's the first time I'm visiting during the winter in 3 years. And it is cold. Then I went back to Mongolia. I spent the spring there. I celebrated Lunar New Year, which is one of the most important holidays we Mongolians celebrate. It is to invite the spring, show respect to the elders, and get in touch with our roots. I also saw my childhood friends, relatives, and ex-colleagues, people who knew me long before my adult anxieties existed. I returned to places and rhythms that existed before the pressure and expectations. When I think about Mongolia, I think about space, peace, and freedom. And that was exactly what I was craving in Paris, while my life felt like it was falling apart if I dramatized it a little. There's something deeply stabilizing about returning to where your nervous system first learned what home feels like. I also had some projects in mind. We are here at the Moch Kashmir factory office, and we just had like a very nice meeting. And now I want to walk around the office and also the factory. So I got in touch with my fashion and creator community in Ulaanbaatar. I received so much support, trust, and good vibes. I came back spiritually recharged. I stopped craving things that were never meant for me. Less noise inside, more focus, more center. Hi. We might be adopting a cat. Өнөөдрийн бас би маргааш Парис руу нисэж байна. Flying back to Paris tomorrow. Coming back to Paris felt different. This city has always challenged me as a foreigner, but it sharpens me too. I love its romance, its density, its movement, and its mutedness. It felt like the right moment to fully step into my next chapter, so I went all in, and I found my first Parisian apartment.
Hi. Today is the day, guys. We're moving. I'm just going to do some final packing.
Almost identical to the one on my vision board. A small miracle, honestly, especially knowing how competitive the Paris rental system is. And that space became my cocoon, a place filled only with my energy, my routines, and my thoughts. For the first time, my external environment matched my internal need for stability. Paris gave me intensity, my apartment gave me stillness, and I needed both. Okay, so what are we drinking? Hello. Bonsoir. Mathieu. Hey everyone. I'm in Napoli. In between everything, there were small escapes with friends. A quick Amalfi Coast, a Napoli trip, a hiking date trip with new and old friends, a short trip to the most beautiful Mont Saint-Michel. Nothing grand, but deeply necessary. Those moments reminded me that life doesn't pause while you are rebuilding, that joy doesn't need permission, that movement, nature, and shared presence can reset you in ways no planning ever could. Back in my apartment, something shifted again. After some pause, I returned to making, touching fabric, cutting patterns, draping and sewing. It was actually awkward at first. Finding where to start was hard, and I had to rediscover my flow. But the confidence came back almost immediately. Not the loud, performative kind, but the quiet one that leaves in your hands. Creating my artisanal collection at home wasn't about productivity. It was about remembering who I am at my core. What grounds me, what makes me feel alive, what connects me to myself. My goal was to turn my apartment into a home atelier, a Parisian route for my professional life. Fully occupying the space, even shooting the collection at home, felt deeply satisfying and necessary. And that's when my identity came back online. Professionally, this year was both my biggest disappointment and my biggest win. I graduated with my master's in fashion design, full of ambition, but the momentum didn't quite move the way I wanted. Internships turned into maybes, and maybes turned into next time. I sent countless emails, received rejections, and often no answers at all. That was completely normal. But at the same time, I was contacted back by Schiaparelli, Mezzo Margiela, Acne Studios, even twice, and Jezel. I was suggested for an internship followed by a potential job, and by Rick Owens for working in the showrooms during the fashion weeks. But nothing fully landed for the long term at the brand that I wanted. Sometimes because of the timing, sometimes because I didn't make it work. Maybe because I was greedy, or maybe naive. A lot of it was simply outside my control. What mattered more was what happened internally. While trying to land an assistant designer position at the place I wanted, I didn't stand still. I needed to control what I can control. I wanted to understand fashion in Paris from every angle. I started attending fashion weeks as an influencer, communicating with PRs, producing photo shoots, doing art direction and styling gigs, creating content, taking online classes in luxury business, going to workshops and professional events, networking. As a multifaceted creative, every part of this expanded my horizon, but it also clarified something essential: what I'm willing to tolerate and what I'm not, where my energy feels aligned and where it drains me, where I should focus my time and creative power. The fog didn't disappear overnight, but when it lifted, it left me with precision. All of these, the breakup, the grounding, the friendships, the return to my roots, the city, the craft, the uncertainty, all pushed me toward the same conclusion. I wanted to build something of my own, create my own stability, a project, a brand, a world that brings everything together. A universe that connects my inner vision to my Mongolian heritage and Parisian experience. I decided to start a journey that leads to an alternative way to excellence. A hard one, but I know is worth suffering for. There is just never a perfect moment to begin, but only the moment when staying still feels heavier than moving forward. So yeah, that was my year. Not chaotic in the hindsight, just deeply transitional. I used to think clarity came from knowing exactly what you want, but this year taught me it comes from knowing what no longer fits. If you're still watching this and you feel behind, confused, or like everything in your life is shifting at once, this is a reminder that growth often happens quietly, without witnesses. And maybe stop forcing things too much. So, from now on, I'll be sharing more living alone Paris diaries, and most importantly, business building diaries, and of course, the quiet moments in between. As I said, I have some exciting things on the way. I've been meditating and working towards it for some time now. So, thanks for being here. I will see you next year. I'm rooting for you. Bye bye, bisous.